Here is a video about our cruising from Vancouver to Prince Rupert.
So Ammonite has been laying in Cole Harbour Marina in Vancouver for 5 months now. Kai's sister Ulla and her boys Antonius and Pavlos came for a visit. So while repairs were being done on Ammonite, we used the time to tour Vancouver before heading to Prince Rupert. And spring had arrived in Vancouver. Even the turtles knew it was spring. We all had a good laugh at this art installation. This is the Cleveland Dam at the head of the Capilano River. Further down the river is the suspension bridge, which was a real challenge for Kai, who has a fear of heights. The suspension bridge is over 200 meters long and 70 meters above the ground. We saw a couple of beautiful owls there and a falcon. On the 18th of April, with repairs completed, we left Vancouver. Finally, we were on our way to Alaska. The weather was really nice with some sun and the sea was calm, so it was a nice cruise even though it was just 12 degrees outside. Also on the way we passed Lund, which is also the Swedish city where Kai's company is located. We arrived Hernando Island and anchored and enjoyed an anchor drum. A fishing boat was setting out crab traps. It was a very peaceful anchorage, and we saw some seals and otters while we finished our sundowners. And the sun went down here at about 9 o'clock. Next morning we were on our way again. Soon we arrived at Dent Rapids with huge whirlpools. The current was with us, so we reached speeds of up to 15 knots at times. To the right you see one of the many big whirlpools. Ammonite was swinging around like a toy boat. It was hard to believe she weighs 130 tons. 15 minutes after passing through the rapids, we saw a lot of seals. We arrived in Fitzhugh Sound the 22nd of April after a bumpy ride through Queen Charlotte Strait. The inside passage then turned into a beautiful calm sea as we made our way to Pruth Bay. Pruth Bay on Calvert Island is a popular anchorage, but at this time of year we had it to ourselves. In the background there is a long sandy beach and also the Hakai University Research Institute. The beach was beautiful, but it was too cold to take a swim. Normally when cruising BC waters you need to keep a sharp eye out for logs, but looks like you also need to watch out for tires too. I think this tire is even bigger than what we saw in the water. We approached Shearwater Marina to find that we were the only pleasure boat there. There are a few big floating homes here. The 24th, and we are now in Princess Royal Channel. Here high mountains meet the fjords and almost all have snow on the top. We could clearly see that we were now further north. We saw lots of seals sunbathing on this lovely day. Here we are in Coots Inlet. Kai was here twice last year, both times wearing shorts, but not this time. We put out the crab trap and caught one crab, which we immediately threw back as that was not going to feed 5 people. This is Low Inlet, our next stop, an amazing place with an impressive small waterfall. Our dress to go ashore was a little special too, but worked. Not high fashion. We saw a beaver and heard a woodpecker, but we didn't see any bears. We also had the crab trap out, but didn't even get one this time. Next day, we pulled the anchor for a short trip to the North Pacific Cannery. Here we had a very interesting tour of how the cannery was operating up to 1980 when it was finally closed. The general manager, Laurie Davey, was very kind and opened the museum especially for us, since the museum normally doesn't open until the 1st of May. Ulla was checking out their spare parts system. It was not as good as the data system Cobra. Kai found a machine from his previous employer. When the cannery was in full operation, there were over 600 employees, so they needed this store. Later that same day, we pulled the anchor, and 1 hour later, we were at the inlet to Prince Rupert. Prince Rupert in the last year has turned into an important import-export harbor, which also has a terminal for cruise ships. Here you can see a very long train pulling many containers. Last year, Prince Rupert was a hub for Ammonite while she cruised with friends. We had a nice last dinner here in Prince Rupert with Ulla and her boys prior to their departure the next day for Sweden. We enjoyed 2 wonderful weeks with them on board, and we will miss them. So the first leg of our Alaska trip is finished. 600 miles behind us and less than 100 miles to go to our first port of call in Alaska.